Lethal dose of this is just 2 milligrams. This is enough to kill 10,000 people. Through this act, they're trying to say that the possession and use and sale of these drugs is a victimless crime. Law has been made that changes fentanyl and reclassifies it as being different from morphine and other drugs. It doesn't go into effect until after this bill passes. We are already a state that is a destination state for illegal immigrants because of human trafficking. Issue 1 passes, we will then become a drug trafficking hub because there won't be prison sentence time. It's a very dangerous law with regard specifically to the drug fentanyl. Bottom line here is saving lives. This is 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. Only one portion of this, 2 milligrams, is enough to kill a person. Short and the easiest statement about the passage of issue 1 is that our morgues will fill up and our prisons will become empty. But I wanted to know specifically what was wrong with issue 1. I wanted to know what the specific details were, and I found out. Please don't allow this to happen in our state. We are already a state that is a destination state for illegal immigrants because of human trafficking. If issue 1 passes, Ohio will then become a destination state for drug trafficking. We will become a drug trafficking hub. They're trying to sell us a bill of goods and tell us that this money is now going to be used in order to give people treatment for drug abuse. It will be a misdemeanor crime punishable with like a traffic ticket. So how are you even going to find out that they need treatment if this bill passes? If you read the details, the money is going to be sent to 3 places, and none of those places are treatment. Each of those places that they designate are places where they are going to talk about ways of treating people for addiction. It has nothing to do with giving the money to treatment centers. And as I just spoke those words, I realized that if they aren't arresting anybody for any type of a drug charge because they can carry and use so much quantity without being brought into the judicial system, it's going to be handled as a misdemeanor. Why are you even going to offer them treatment when obviously they don't have a problem with the courts? One of our former drug court judges said that at the present time we have a 70% success rate in the drug courts as they are now, and success is in meaning they go for treatment and they accept treatment. 70%. He said they'll lose that. He said that the possibility of facing prison time is the carrot in the carrot and the stick. If you take away the prison time, you're taking away their ability to incentivize persons to go for treatment. The mistake that was made in framing this bill is the fact that at the time this bill was created in 2017, drug fentanyl was classed the same as a drug such as morphine. They were classified as the same in regard to quantity and strength, and yet fentanyl is 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. Fentanyl is a different type of drug, separate from morphine and separate from other opioid drugs. Law has been made that changes fentanyl and reclassifies it as being different from morphine and other drugs. It doesn't go into effect until after this bill passes. The bill that is issue 1 that is on the ballot in the state of Ohio this November 2018 allows a person to possess, use, or sell to 20 grams of fentanyl. I want to show you what 20 grams of fentanyl would look like. This container holds 25 grams of dry weight content. That would be if they were even caught 2 times in a 2-year period. This lethal dose of this is just 2 milligrams. This is enough to kill 10,000 people. It's 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. Fentanyl is a potent opioid used legally as a pain medicine. It's used illegally to lace other drugs to increase the potency. State Issue 1 reduces the penalties for 4th and 5th degree offenses that were on the books as of January 1 of 2018. At that time, fentanyl wasn't labeled as being one of the state's most dangerous drugs. Anyone caught with up to 20 grams of it would face a misdemeanor instead of prison time. 2 milligrams can be lethal. 20 grams can kill 10,000 people. What else this Issue 1 does is it will eliminate drug courts. Right now there are 167 drug courts in the state of Ohio. This will eliminate drug courts, and what that does is participation in a drug court is where you go before a judge who may offer to eliminate lengthy prison time sentences if drug users obtain treatment. State Issue 1 is called the Neighborhood Safety Drug Treatment and Rehabilitation Amendment, and nothing could be farther than the truth. It has nothing to do with treatment, and it has nothing to do with neighborhood safety. Under this act, they're trying to say that the possession and use and sale of these drugs is a victimless crime, and they want to charge people with a misdemeanor who used to be able to be charged appropriately. There will be no jail time for the first and second offenses committed within a 2-year period, 24 months time. It will not allow judges to send people to jail if they violate probation unless a new crime is committed or they miss an appointment. Justice Maureen O'Connor says that this bill is misleading and poorly written. She says passing this bill will do exactly the opposite of what the proponents are claiming that it will do. It'll tie the hands of the judges, and they will not be able to incentivize addicts to go for treatment. People will die. 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. It's an unstable chemical, so that you aren't sure if it's going to act 50% stronger than morphine or up to 100% the strength of morphine. It's fentanyl that is killing our kids. It's fentanyl that is killing our population. As for my being a cosmetologist, I've been educated on the ways that Ohio is currently a destination state for illegal immigrants because of human trafficking and the positions that they can be placed in the state of Ohio. If Issue 1 passes, we will then become a drug trafficking hub. The states that surround us currently have the same laws that we have, and so it is going to be more of an incentive to sell drugs in the state of Ohio than in any other state surrounding us. I believe that when they wanted to reclass drugs into non-penalty crimes, they weren't thinking of the drug fentanyl, but this fentanyl slipped in. They call this a victimless crime. For one thing, the persons who are dying are victims. Their families and friends are victims. In money, it costs a lot of money to keep a person in a drug habit. These are not victimless crimes. People normally don't have enough money to buy the drugs that they need to use, and they can't normally sustain a job and hold a job and spend the amount of money that it takes to spend in order to use these drugs. They need to commit crimes in order to purchase these drugs. Those are the victims of this crime. It is not a victimless crime. There are 3 people with massive amounts of money who are behind this bill. One of them is is a couple. It's Mark Zuckerberg and his wife. Her name is Priscilla Chan. Mark Zuckerberg is wealthy to the tune of $3 billion. He has been visiting all of the 50 states because he intends to run for president in the future. Somehow or other, the money that is being taken away from our drug courts, taken away from the prosecutors, taken away from the lawyers that would represent the people who are arrested of these crimes, that money is going to be allocated into someone's pockets in order to support these wealthy people in some way. I don't know what that way is, but Mark Zuckerberg and his wife and two other persons who are very extremely wealthy are behind the creation of this bill. None of them resides in the state of Ohio. None of them has an interest in our families and our homes and our well-being in the state of Ohio. I have an interest in the state and the well-being of my state. And you do too. We want to protect ourselves and our neighbors. The passage of this bill is a very dangerous thing. I actually got to visit a prison possibly 6 times in the past 3 or 4 years. When you go into a prison these days, I didn't know what to expect. You look among the sea of faces in prison, the little blue uniforms. I was, of course, in the women's prison visiting. It's like looking at a group of nursing students. They're very well taken care of from what I saw. They eat very well. They have people invited in from the community who can help them to begin to recover if they do wind up in prison. If a person is in jail or in prison, at least that person is alive, and that person's family can sleep well because their family member is taken care of at that time. The prison systems need to be maintained. We need to keep them healthy and thriving places so that people can get healthy and get out and get productive lives. Some people are very grateful to be in prison because they know that once they get back on their feet, they're finally off of their substance. They're looking forward to getting involved back in with their family, with their children. They're looking forward to life because they're alive. There's a lot of young people in prison, but their lives are being saved and their lives are being changed because they have the opportunity, A, to live, B, to get off of their substance, 3, to be retrained to do something in the world. They want to get back on their feet. Bottom line here is saving lives. That's the bottom line. Don't let this happen in our state.